Thank you, because I certainly do appreciate the fact that from time to time I'm reminded that most of St. Maarten make it a point of duty at this time of day to join PJD2 for the program Viewpoint, and we certainly appreciate that. And also, it inspired me to make it a point of duty myself to be here so that we can carry out the responsibility that has been entrusted to us. Whatever is happening, we'll let you know. Don't forget the march today. You might want to be a part of that too as well. But we have quite a different story that we'll be talking about today. And for those of you who, you might be culturally aware of what's going on in our country. You might be culturally aware of practices and habits that we once had in the past. Well, we have some creative people among us who found it fitting to do something very special. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm happy to say a special good afternoon to my guest who is here with us to talk about an upcoming play that is titled Writing for Love. Didn't make too much sense when I hear it the first time. I had all kind of things going through my head. But I think you are in the same boat as me, but we'll get a lot more information about what it's all about. I do have here with me Jason James, who is the writer of the play. And alongside him, we have the director of Judah Jubilee Company, who is Jamila Javois Richardson. She's a Richardson too, right? Arundel. Jamila Arundel. And we also have one of the actors here, familiar voice as well. But I just want to serve a reminder, and for those of you who adore this type of activity and might have attended some play in the past, did you remember Redemption? Okay, then you did. It was staged somewhere around April, May of last year. It was produced by none other than the Judah Jubilee Company, headed by Jamila Javois Arundel, and she's here. If you remember that, this one is going to be a telltale. I'm not going to say anymore because I'm excited about this one as well, because there is so many principles in here that we have moved away from, and they found it fitting to bring this back to the fore. With that said, let me say good afternoon to you, Jamila.
Good afternoon, Wendell.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you and knowing about this new project, and the writer who is right next to you, who happens to be Jason. Jason, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you okay?
Yes, it's a pleasure being here with you.
Yeah, all right. Good to have you. And alongside Jason, I'm just going to let him say, hello, I'm here.
Good afternoon, I am Johan James. You already know who I am.
Yeah, well, that's another ambition that he has. So I'm happy that he sees it fit as well to, venture into those areas. The skies is the limit as far as that is concerned. You can reach just about anywhere. All right. My focus today, however, would be on Jason, who came up with the idea of writing such a play. And I was wondering, well, first of all, can you give me a summary, or Jamila, you want to do that? Which of you?
Well,
give me a summary of the idea behind this play.
I would like Jason to give us a summary of what the play, what it's all about. But I just want to say that this is part of a cultural series that we're doing.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes.
Looking back at St.Maarten, customs, values, history. So this is love. The theme here is love and courtship. But we'll also be doing jollification. How did we get together as a community and build together and work together so that everybody could have a place to feel comfortable.
But such as what you're saying, I see no relation to writing for love there.
Yes, there is, because it all goes back to St.Maarten history and values, how we work together as a community. Okay. So this theme is love, but jollification and salt picking and all of that is part of St. Maarten history. And that's what we're bringing back to the community, St. Maarten history.
You better be capable to defend. You better be capable of defending any kind of a critique. As far as me critiquing that, I don't see any connection here with Writing for Love, but I was only kidding.
I love the way you interview, and I love your questions. So I will never be taken off guard.
the whole point is you must be prepared to answer to the concerns and the critique that people will have. We're dealing with so many different minds, and maybe this play itself, people are going to look at it differently. But I think it's important nonetheless. So, what say you, Jason?
Well, I believe it's something that's much needed. A term that we have in the Caribbean, and also here in St. Maarten, is that St. Maarten has no culture. And that's something I strongly am against too, because I grew up with my grandparents. So I grew up riding donkeys and horses and driving cattle, washing clothes on my hands. That's how I grew up. You know, and
that's vast culture, isn't
it?
And whether you believe it or not.
That's true. And you know, also picking, we used to go and pick the cotton and make pillows and different things. So that's how I grew up. So maybe I'm one of the few that had that kind of upbringing, but that is what inspired this play. And to see how my grandfather treated my grandmother, her family, how he would send barrels back to Anguilla, and how he would look out for her, and in that way he was signifying, hey, I love you. And even their meeting was, he had a friend, and he couldn't write too well, so he asked the friend to write for him. And he sent letters to her, and that's how he and my grandmother met.
Oh, you just wake up something.
See, now we're getting into
who remember used to write letters?
And I mean that was the point in that time, to show your intentions. And you not only wrote it to the person that you were in love with,
you wrote it to the parents.
You wrote it to the parents also. So now you're writing in for love. Just how you may write into the island and say, hey, I'm here.
You're coming around full circle. Writing for love.
Yes.
Writing for love. I love the title, but it is something that you see very little of these days. And I wonder what could be the reason for that. And I guess you wrote this play, and you certainly want people to take something away. What would that be,
I think,
in your view?
I think we have moved as a people far away from being critiqued or getting advice. And sometimes we know if we bring this individual around our family, it could even be our friends, what they may say about that person. So in other words, we hide them, we keep them a secret, because we don't want nobody to be in our business. And we as a small people are already in your business. So why not get that critique from somebody who loves you? I'm not saying it may not always be right, but let's just say things take a turn for the south. You can always say, hey, you know what, this person really warned me about this. This person was in my life, they gave me an advice, and it goes back to the term, it takes a village. So not introduce that person that you love. Let the intentions not only be known by what they write, but what they say, what they do. And that's what this play embodies.
Yeah. How do you get this started? How do you figure out where to start to lead to the main point of your play?
Well, it came from our fearless leader, Miss Jamila Arindel. She always, sparks our ideas and creativity. So a day she said, she was looking for some new playwrights. So I said, I'll try my chops. I'll see what's going to happen. And she was like, that's a very good idea. So another cast member, Joy Carty, she gave her a list of stuff and different ideas of what we could do. So there was one idea where she had two couples and they were in love, and the person came to the house in the night and he was throwing rocks on the window. And these are something that used to happen in our old times. You throw rocks on the window.
You ever did that, Wendell?
That was nice,
You're not interviewing me. But a lot of us can relate to that. All kind of funny business. We used to even refer to the rock sting as Anguilla Love. Yeah. So all of that. Okay, let me get the youngster in here, because I don't know what part he's playing, but
he is Christopher on the Vows. He is the father. He is the father of the young lady
Yes.
who is about to be courted.
Jan, good afternoon to you, sir. You
Good
take the
afternoon, sir.
microphone. What's up? You all right?
I'm good. Now, you see, with this role, I have to say, perhaps I typecasted myself because this is another Dutchman from the last time I played a Dutch character. So it's really interesting. I really like the story that Jason has created because it's very, of course, it's a time that, of course, I'm not familiar with since I wasn't born during that time, of course.
Yeah.
But
You're Gen Z.
yeah, it's very personal. It's old school in a way that I've heard about, especially with the throwing the rocks on the windows, trying to get a lover's attention. But it's a personal story. It's written well. It's written dearly, I would say, and it's just interesting to get a look back into what was, especially for me learning about what was and me trying to figure out, especially with the rest of the cast members, what would work, what was accurate in the time period, what maybe we might be able to get away with a little modern thing, but not too much, because of course anyone during that time period would immediately look at him and be like, yeah, you think you're slick, but I wasn't back then, huh?
So you get a letter? You did get a letter?
Yes. Try not to reveal anything and have
Right.
to come watch
We
it.
don't want to reveal too much, but we also want people to know that is going to be really,
Yeah.
really fun
Yeah.
and
Electric.
interesting and electric.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, so much things are racing through my mind because a lot of what you're talking about, I can relate to it. Back in the day when when you are trying to establish interest and love for someone, there's part of it that has to come into play that has vanished these days. It may not have been the writing part, but I can understand writing for love means you're committing yourself to somebody else's daughter,
Yes.
and you would have to hold to what you have written,
Yes, correct.
But back in the day, it's bringing them home.
Yes, correct.
That and that used to be the hardest part because you don't know what's going to happen.
And just to give you a little peek behind the veil, you see that played out also. Whereas Mr. Van der Waal, played by Mr. Johan, is very rich, and the young lady's love interest is somebody who's a fisherman, very poor.
Giving away a lot.
Yeah.
No,
So-
yeah, we can give that away. I believe we can give that away. But
Somewhat of a
we'll
contrast.
see those things play out.
Contrast, yeah.
Those contrasts play out. You understand? Even French and Dutch.
Yeah.
That's as far as I'll go.
Yeah.
But we try as much to involve culture, try to make things real. Even some of the names of the characters are very central to St.Maarten, things that you have heard before. So, those things we believe that will make the people want to come out and listen when they hear certain names, and we begin to start to fully promote and get it up there.
All right, so Jamilia, you might as well. You think Redemption was good? I think this is going to be much better than Redemption.
Well, Redemption is hard to beat.
Hard
Okay?
to
But
beat.
that's a different genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted
Yeah,
to
it's
ask you
a
about the
completely
genre of
different
this one. People can expect to laugh plenty, or is it
Yeah, there are definitely some humorous,
suspense? Or
definitely humorous
drama?
moments. It's always a combination of, it's just, human interaction.
Yeah.
Real life. We base our stories mostly on real life situations. You're gonna have different emotions different-
coming out,
Yeah.
yeah? Yeah.
Different ends of the spectrum, but always relatable to our audience.
Yes.
Always relatable to people. You're never gonna feel like I have no idea what this is about. We always try to bring
Writing
in that.
for love.
Yes,
Writing for love.
in for love.
I think this strikes a lot of people many different ways. But hearing it for the first time. But as I'm able to have this conversation, I'm getting the feel of what this is all about. But would you agree, Jason, that we have moved away from this? And what are some of the values we lost as a result of moving from this, apart from advice? You talk about the advice part already. But I'm sure there are other values that we've lost.
It happened to a couple of us already. You brought out somebody and then you find out that person is your cousin.
Wow.
Hey,
You know.
Yeah.
that's rough.
So, and then last minute you run into go out. Oh, this person is a last child from so and so, and as your half sister. You know, these things put a lot of stuff in perspective, because when you have that time to come and like you said, not only with the advice, but now knowing who this person is,
Yes.
it's also linked to intention. Sometimes you can find out if somebody credible, if they really care about you. If okay, let's take from the perspective of what you said. Let's put the right thing aside. But going to the parents and saying, hey, you know, I'm in love with your daughter, and having that conversation, those things are non-existent, you know. And if a young man can do that for a young lady who he cares about, you know his intentions, what he's about.
Yes.
But nowadays, we have men who even afraid to pick them up in front of the house. They'll go round the corner, park up and wait for a young lady to come.
Yeah.
But if you could go to the parents, you got some heart, you know. So,
Yeah.
And that's how I grew up, you know. Even when I have intention, I go to the
Those
parents.
are the good values. What it does for the future of those two people getting together and building a home too as well.
Yeah, because that for me solidifies your bond. It has people who are invested in a relationship. It's not just these two people who are coming together for the first time, don't know anything about each other. But when you can do that, you have parents who are invested. Of course, we know there are parents that can be sometimes too invested, but it's better to have somebody who cares than not to care at all. And this strengthens your community.
Yeah.
This lets everyone understand and know, hey, these people are together, we're trying to keep them together. You know, when the children grow up, I remember when he was quoting, he came to John Mary down the road, he said, I love you. We have to look out for the children. It helps build your community. But that's why we have gone so far, everybody afraid to even tell somebody something to somebody's child or to people who are getting married. It's
Oh, I'm asking some questions out of curiosity, you know, because I'm you know, I'm feeling the whole thing. But what about the? I don't want to make it look like the interest always come from the man first. But do you in this play? Is there any way that the interest could have come from the lady too? How does that work?
And that's something interesting that you also see in the play, right? You'll also see some characters fighting from the perspective of the young lady, and the young lady will let her intentions be known, how she feels about the situation in different ways.
Yes.
You understand? And that's lovely to see. And I always believe that men are supposed to be, you know, the initiators.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
women can
Well,
also leave some breadcrumbs, you know. You know.
I'm
always
sure
come
Jan
in,
is gonna hear. But I love him, Dad.
You know, so.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Van der Waals does not approve.
No, the thing is, the dynamics around this family life, I can see the cultural aspect to it.
Yeah. It's
Because
very cultural. And not
it's
just
the way we
cultural, but
used to
St.
live.
Maarten culture as
Yes.
well. Because that's one thing we want to promote as a theater arts company, to promote our island. We could do every, you know, production based on, you know, whatever exists out there already, but we are a St. Maarten theater arts production company, and we definitely want to highlight our culture that is so important, our historical value, and make sure that important information is relayed to the younger generations, and we don't ever lose our value, you know.
what about the awareness part for those persons who can relate to these type of practices in family homes? You need to bring those people back to realizing that this is some of the principles that can be taught in your homes.
Yes, and it's important, like Jason said, you know, we may not go back to writing a letter to parents, but definitely, you know, the value of wanting to meet parents, wanting to share your intentions, that you have to have good intentions to take that step. And that's important. That's important. If a young man or a young woman doesn't want to do that at any point in the relationship, the persons in the
That's a red
relationship need to reflect and ask themselves some questions.
Yes, that's a red flag.
Yeah, red flag, big red flag.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important.
Yeah. Folks, the play is called Writing for Love. It is going to be staged at the Phillipsburg Cultural Center on July 4th and 5th. So start making plans. What about the tickets for this?
Tickets will be available or are available as of tomorrow from all cast members. Also, there will be tickets at the Phillipsburg Berg Cultural Center, and for the folks on the front side, Radio Maranatha.
Okay. So they can start planning
Yes.
to be a part of this show. Just another principle that I don't know if it's part of the play, but this also often come into play when it comes to two people falling in love. School, where they have met, and all the other dynamics around these two people. Is that any part of what would be presented, or you have it so edited that you just go directly to writing for love?
I don't believe there's some mention, because at those times, you remember, getting married was a big deal, even somewhat more than education, and especially, sad to say, when it came to the female side of it, it was more of get married to somebody strong, get married to somebody who could take care of you, those kind of things. So that part of it, we do dabble a little bit into it, but it's not really.
I'm talking about like where they met. Maybe there's a scene.
Like we said, everything is local, and that's how I said, just drawing from my reference. Every Sunday morning we would go Marigot to my grandfather. Little boy,
yes,
he'll catch Tata. A lot of people know about Tata. My grandfather was
Tata, the
John
bus
Wano.
driver.
Yeah. Grandfather was John Wano. Both of them was first cousins.
Yes.
He'd call, send a message. Tata will come pick him up. We'll go down by the market in the morning.
Yes, sir.
And we'll meet different people. And it was always interesting to see us walking through. He'll say, "Yeah, that's your cousin. This is your cousin."
Yeah.
And he'll introduce me to the family like that. So for me, that's what I wanted to keep in it, that idea. And I think that's something that's missing to even us as a culture. Some very few people would know that you can still go down to Marigot and Grand Cars and still get some good breakfast. Some, lobster.
Saturday morning breakfast.
Yes,
you're talking about what we used to do.
Yes, Saturday. That's how I grew up. So, and I mean, even so much in town, but my grandfather, because he was born in the French side but lived on the Dutch side, he'd always go back and give me the opportunity to learn about his culture, his heritage, where he's from. So that's something that I really wanted to introduce in the play. So in the play, you will see different points, and I'm going to give it away, where you hear certain things, and you'll want to say, okay, I remember this. Okay, I know this spot. I know this location.
You're trying to hide some for then, but setting us up is just as good,
I learn from the best.
And the interesting part of probably showing interest in a person who might be a distant family of yours, and you don't know, and only to wake up to that reality. Maybe this is to spark your interest now. Maybe you might go a little bit in the direction of what something of that as part of a suspense. I mean, you fall in love with somebody who is a family member.
We never know. We never know.
And that's why it's important to write for love.
That's right.
Write for love.
Yes.
Write and tell them the parents that you're in love with their daughter,
Yes,
and find out that it can be a good meet.
Or worst case scenario, like you said, find out. Oh wait, who you for? Oh no, we family. Sorry, you can't do this.
But the advice is also very important. Sometimes it's good for parents to not just to write off an individual when they meet them, but give them advice and say, hey, you're going to face this, you're going to face that. How are you going to counteract that?
Yeah.
What's your next move? This person is like this. Can you deal with that for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
And for me in our culture, that's what we're missing, that guidance.
Yeah.
Guidance, yes.
And also, this may not be part of your play, but these are benefits when you take that important step.
Yeah.
The family would do whatever is necessary to help you prepare for your marriage. Like all those bills and the organization and the whole 9 yards. But all of that is voided when you try to keep it a secret. Yeah, okay. Hello, good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon. My name is Dominique Fleming, and I just would like to ask a couple of questions.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm not on the air, right?
Yes, you are. But that's not a problem. Go ahead.
No, I would just like to know how much is your interview fee?
All right, I'll have to deal with you off camera for that. Anyway, call me back later.
No problem.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Sorry about that. But you know the thing is, um, the cultural aspect of it is a series that probably you plan on furthering, or this is just one.
Throughout this year, next year, or for a number of years. We have a couple of themes that we want to cover, and we want it to be established. You know, we want things to be reestablished. We want it to be documented, just as many very talented local artists are doing their best, our best as a community to document more, document again. We are realizing again the value of documentation because unfortunately, you know, the older folks, you know, they're passing on, and with that, some very important history, some very important culture and information. And we have the responsibility as artists, especially, to document, you know, as writers, as playwrights, as movie directors, just document and put it out there. And also, as St. Martiners, we are just so talented. There's so many talented people on this tiny island. Yes, you know, in music, in every form of the arts, dance, culture, visual arts, and
the dichotomy of the salt picking part, how does fit into this cultural play?
Well, we are not. That's going to be one of our other productions.
Yeah.
So then we're going to focus on salt picking season and what happened all around that time, how it affected people's lives, families.
You said the person who was in love with the other person was a fisherman. That's one end. And what was the other person's? They were rich people.
Status.
The people of status. So that's the dichotomy that you can have. I mean, love transcends us both anyway. Right. So,
and you have to remember how it was at that time. Two people of status could have a conversation and say, "Hey, my daughter's interested," you know, and then the young man would come along to the family and then let his intentions be known. When you came from a lesser status, you had to do everything on your own. So now you were the one who had to show the initiative, show the planning, say, "Okay, this is what I'm coming to do." So it was the bar was set high in terms of when you came from a lesser means, you know. So that's something that the play also shows, you know, that how people moved in that dynamic is something that we don't like to talk about, but it's also true. So.
And you talk a little bit. I don't know if this is part of the play, but off record you were saying some people can't write, or they use somebody else to write the message.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So that's what my grandfather met my
that was personal.
Yeah, that was a personal story because she was from Angola and she would come over every once in a while to visit her family over here. So when he saw her, he had a friend, Mr. Connor. He used to write the letters for him, give them to my grandmother. Okay, and that's how they met.
Yeah. Wow. But writing for love, you think is necessary and important? Should be practiced, or well, it don't happen anymore. So
you can look at it.
You think it does happen?
I believe so. I believe so because for me, I'm
maybe not writing
in, but
that meeting.
That meeting, I think.
For those that are very probably still raised formally, because I would say. The whole thing about right in for love.
Use the mic, please.
The whole thing about right in for love, which is still important, but of course the times are different, like you said, not as formal, but more of, and this is a point like a few minutes ago, but you really got to understand, and I wouldn't really say get with the times, but understand the times that we're in, and more since it is more informal, but still, as you had mentioned earlier, the guidance that is lacking to guide youth such as myself to, although informal, still have the basis of respect and the values, the basis of respect and values to still, as you said, have the courage. But I would have actually said have the stones to go and talk, go and talk to the parents because they need to know exactly who you are as we've all discussed,
Yeah.
your intention and
Do you
so on.
do you remember having to dress up to because you're going by your sweetheart?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's say dress up. I mean, you just can't go any old how.
No.
Pants
That's
sagging.
That's yeah.
Well, to tell you the truth, when at that time when I was quoting a young lady, what I would do is I wouldn't go empty-handed.
Oh,
I would
go with
always
something.
go with something, bag of groceries, something,
Yeah.
you know. Because sometimes when you go over, they cook for you, they buy you food.
Yeah.
You can't just go into somebody else and take something. That's just how I was. That's what my grandfather told me.
Yeah.
So you go, you don't never go empty. He said even if it's a box of juice,
Yeah.
you go with something for the house and you go with something for the young lady.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
That's how I was
so
raised.
beautiful.
Wow.
So for me, that's a standpoint that even the play was generated from, building on those principles, building on that self-respect. Because the other day I was thinking to myself, if I have a daughter and a young man just pull up in front of my house and just speed off, I mean, I myself would get upset.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we take it too serious because now we don't do dating anymore. We just jump straight into a relationship. And young people feel if you bring the person to the house or we at least make an introduction, it's serious.
You're giving away too much.
Yeah. No, sometimes it's just dating and you have to stay on the level of what is dating before you move to the next level, before you make that decision.
Guys, I'm enjoying this so much. I have to take a break. I'm really enjoying this because I can relate to it. And I think it connects with a lot of lost principles and guidance that were once available to our contemporary people at that time. And now it's very, very different. And those values not playing a role in people meeting each other, those two, when you put them together, that's recipe for disaster.
That's correct.
Yeah. Good play. The play's called Writing for Love, folks. It's going to be staged at Phillipsburg Jubilee. What am I saying? Phillipsburg Cultural Center on July 4th and 5th. We'll talk some more about that, however. But first, let me take a break. And when we come back, we'll continue. To our conversation with Jamila, Jason, and also one of the cast members who goes by the name of Johan James. He is playing a role of a Dutchman, rich Dutchman, who have a daughter that somebody else is in love with, and I don't think he's too happy about that. What about the a different color? Am I going anywhere near where I'm supposed to go, Johan?
Depends on the question.
Yeah, but I was asking if you happen to like the guy that is in love with your daughter, and wrote you a letter and tell you that she's in love. You didn't.
The gentleman seems sincere. Smell like fish though. Not ideal, but
What's
not
wrong?
his usual,
What's wrong
what he expected.
with fish anyway? That's an important commodity, you know. That's very expensive, you know, man. If you got a fisherman in your family, you're well off.
True, but Mr. Van der Waals, I should say me, position is important.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with blue collar working, but if there isn't a ambition for anything a little higher, then we might have an issue pertaining to that stability.
Yes, this is his only daughter, his one and only child.
What?
So, you know, he and his
Oh,
wife
boy.
are going to be very meticulous about who, as we all would be, you know, where our children are concerned. Most parents, you know, you want the best
Jason,
for your child.
boy, you came up with that idea, boy.
I just try to think too of what I saw when I was growing up. And another interesting side of it is that there's a lot of plotting in the background. You know what's happening, what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, and there's plotting on both sides, and we see certain plotters come together in order to get certain things pushed forward and to be seen. You know, so that's all I'm gonna say. So you have to come out and see who's the plotters, who are these.
Well,
people
these
making
plotters are
background.
making a mess, or they fix.
No, these plotters, listen, these always making moves because, you know, especially back in those days, you know,
yeah.
the men were always at the forefront, but they had some plotters. They're not going to call, you know, their gender or their race or anything like
But
that.
then, how much people you have in this cast?
The cast is about 11.
Yes.
A cast of about 11 people.
Okay.
Yes. We'll have few extras here and there, but the core is 11.
You're at liberty to say who
Ensemble
some of them
members.
are?
Yes, most definitely. We gotta big up our cast members. We have people like Rita Carty, who is a veteran in the arts. She has been with us, one of our actors, for some years already. Then you have Joy Carty, who assists in different ways. She's not directly in this, but she's always involved in some form or the other. We have Giselle Germain. She's from the French side. So we have our cast is mixed, Dutch, French side. Then we have Mr. Johan James, one of our newest cast members. So we are so happy to have him be a part of us. Actually, where I was very impressed with Johan was when I saw him in... tell us the name of your last production.
God, guys, where I was with... I was with one of our two other cast members, that being Vitsin and Reshma.
Yes, indeed. But I'm talking also about the cultural ones, because you do have some experience acting now, but Loki. Remember that one?
Oh.
Spitfire.
Spitfire.
Yes.
Okay.
So he really knocked me off of my feet when I saw him acting in that production, and so we're happy to have him. Very creative. Yes.
I must admit that he has the ability to be two different characters, because when he's here, he's so serious and everything else, but when I see him performing, he's transformed into something
very
else.
talented.
Yes.
Very
Good.
talented.
And I think that's why I said earlier on, the sky's is the limit for him, because there's a lot of opportunities that would await him. Your talent usually make way for you.
Yes. Yes. And that's a biblical principle.
Yeah.
Then we have Jason, who is the playwright of this particular production, but he is also one of our cast members and was one of the lead actors in Redemption. Also super talented. And
So that would call for some directing from you too, then,
yes, well, yeah, definitely.
in his absence, because
Well,
you got to
he-
tell him what he's not doing
he-
right.
Well, Jason was the playwright, so he wrote the
Yeah.
script, but I direct. I work with the actors, and you put the vision together along with my assistant Isabel Grano and several other people. There's not a one person. One person cannot do something on the caliber that we do. So
Yeah.
it's definitely how you call that?
You want to say something,
Yeah, but
Jason? I could see it coming out of your
I have
eyes.
to say this, right? Jamila is one of the most talented persons I've met in a long while.
Yeah.
She doesn't give herself enough credit for what she does. I wrote it and I said, I don't have to be. She's like, yeah, you have the opportunity to direct. I said, no, you take it over, you make it in, and she just took it over and she just made it into what it is now. So
Yeah.
it's just my words,
Yeah.
but it's her vision.
Yo, thank
Jamila,
you so much. Jason.
Jamila.
They go hand in hand. Can't have one without the other. It's a great piece of work, and like you said, we could tell that you poured your heart and soul into this. You said it, Johan, as well. Like he wrote it dearly. It's
Very
not
personal,
yes, very personally written, and it's been really a joy to direct a production like this, and especially because it's cultural. It's from home. It's homegrown.
But you seem to enjoy this. Speak of what's inside you that
I
make you
love,
give yourself
I
to this.
love theater arts.
Okay.
I love writing as well, and I love seeing a vision, seeing something on paper and bringing it to life. That gives me life. That brings me so much joy, and it's a talent. It's a God-given talent that I have to be just thankful for.
At one point, I thought you was only going to write biblical plays, but this one,
I told you from the beginning when we first started in 2019,
yes,
when you were so gracious to allow us to come and talk about Judah Jubilee Company and what we were doing, I told you that it was going to be, our productions would be based on real life stories, and that is definitely the thread. We want people to be able to relate. We want people to laugh, cry, even get healed from certain situations, because sometimes it could be therapeutic to see something take place and see it work through and touch you in a way. You know, it could be something that you experienced yourself, or like Redemption. We had so many people tell us how much that production, that play meant to them, because they could relate to different stories, and some things got real, you know. And so, but we always want people to walk away better, feeling some form of healing or getting some form of direction in how maybe they could handle their situation.
What about somebody? Well, how would you speak to someone who maybe don't have any desire of wanting to watch a play like on stage, but would come to this, and what could happen to that person?
I would always encourage people to have an open mind. If you feel like you're not a theater person, come out one time, try it, and then give us your feedback. Okay? Because most people enjoy watching movies, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I think what is so magical about theater is that it is happening right in front of you. You know, there's a screen you watch, and that could be amazing. I myself love to go to the movies. I love to see, you know, shows on a big screen, movies on a big screen. But theater is real life. It is like you're immersed in the sound. You're immersed visually. You're just immersed in it. It's a feeling that you cannot get from watching movies.
Yeah.
And if I could add to that as well, the best thing about theater as well is when you're immersed into the story is a level of respect as well, since it's happening in real time. You don't want to mess the actors up as well.
True.
So the plays that I've done so far, everybody's been respectful. They've been quietly watching, getting their laughs in, seeing their expressions as well has always been the fun part, depending upon the scene. If it's like a serious scene, so people are like, and I'm sure it's as well them giving that expression as well as like, wow, and then they probably look off to the side from another audience.
When somebody in the audience,
and then they probably look back and they're like, you just saw that?
Yes. Yes.
So it's so interesting. In movies is the same thing, but of course that's already pre-recorded.
Yes.
Script that was already scripted out. You know.
One of the dynamics with that is looking at the movie. You can always pause and play back and all that kind of stuff, but you have to really get into it when you're there to the point where everything is happening in real time.
Yeah.
So if you're not into it, you
might
know,
miss
and there's a special feeling about that.
But can I tell you that our audience from Redemption, some of them came back 2 and 3 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe they felt like they missed something or they wanted to see it again. These people, and we are so thankful for our audiences to support us.
And before I let you go, I just wanted to ask if there is any like somebody involved in like the type of clothes you wear. What do you call that?
The costume.
Costume, yes.
Yes. Well, we have our stage manager, Miss Chanella. So she assists us with props and setting up stage, but we definitely take time for costuming. So we sort of multitask. You know, sometimes you need to bring in someone, but very often we just select people who have the talent for certain areas and we work together to get it done.
Yeah, but that is part of it.
Yes.
Just wanted to know if that's part of it, because I could imagine the fisherman child wouldn't dress as nicely as a rich.
Costumes are, especially when you're doing a timepiece like this one.
Yeah.
Yes. I know you have more questions, but I didn't mention all the cast. Maybe.
Oh, you better fit that in, because
okay, let
time
me do
is
that
against
quickly.
us.
So we have Kivani Soler, Ria Adams Kudan, Rishma Jormin, Vitson Exantus, Priska Dennis, Shalmar Rotsburg, Fernando Richardson, and Isabel Greno.
How difficult it is to work with all of them, though. when you
They
know their part. I know you're doing your
it's-
rehearsals, but still.
I mean, we're working with people, so we just, our premise is to be open-minded, to be able to discuss, to listen to people's opinions, you know, just to hear each other out and to build something together.
Writing for love.
Yeah.
How you came up with that name?
It's sometimes you have to just I learned that in Bible college it says kiss, keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid. That's right.
Yes.
Oh, they do that in Bible college too?
Yeah.
Yeah. In journalism school, they teach you that. Kiss. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Because especially when you're writing for the air, it gotta be simple. If you're writing for magazines or that kind of stuff, if there's a big word that they don't understand, they can easily take their time, go back over it again. But when you're writing for the air, if the words are not simple, if the idea and the concept is not a simple one, they might just miss everything.
That's correct.
That's correct. All right, so you want to go ahead and extend the invitation, tell people where to get
Yeah,
tickets?
so to the entire community, St.Maarten, come out. You guys have been supporting since 2019. You all know Judah Jubilee Company. We bring excellence, and this production is not going to be any different. So we invite you to come out on July 4th and 5th. Tickets are available from cast members. You can find information on our Judah Jubilee Company Facebook page, Instagram page, our TikTok page. So that will be going out this week, blasting out information. You can also purchase tickets at the Cultural Center in Phillipsburg and at Radio Maranatha station in Marigot. Yes.
And from cast members.
Yes, and from cast members and from board members. Shout out to our board who work really hard behind the scenes to help us with, the business aspects, because it's not easy to, put on a production like this. It requires funds, it requires hard work, and so I want to shout them out as well.
Yeah. Jason, congratulations. I'll be in the audience for sure, critiquing everything. What about the bridge? What about the bridges? How do you the bridge from one scene to the next?
Well, again, our director, Jamila, had to help me out with that. She just gave me some creative ideas and I just implement.
Yeah.
I just execute. There were some parts in it which say, we could do this better. And sometimes as we go through it, we can see where a different bridge would have to be made. So that because this was like my first play that I wrote basically on my own. So
I'm curious to see how it starts, and I'm going to lay that right at the feet of Jamila.
You gotta come out to see that. I am Wendell. The whole of St.Maarten, because I know everybody listens to your show at 12. Heard you say you will be there.
Yeah.
So after the production, you can invite me back and we could talk about how it started. Okay?
Thank you, Jon. Thank you. No, I'm out of time. I gotta go.
Oh, okay.
Thank you,
flies when you're
Jason.
having fun.
Thank you, Jamila. I really enjoyed the idea, the concept, and if we have given a little bit of life to it, I think that's the idea behind
Yes, and thank
behind
you
it,
so
and
much.
hopefully
Thank you so
people
much.
will come out and look at this play.
We're looking forward to seeing the community come out again and
Yeah.
enjoy themselves.
All right, thank you for sharing it. Do you have something you want to say? You seem to.
No.
Oh, you're
I'm
good.
I'm just happy. I just can't wait, for the community to come out and support and get a look at it.
All right, so we let that be the final word for
That's
today.
it.
Well, thank you all so very much for sharing the hour with me. I certainly do appreciate it, and hopefully you'll get the kind of support that you deserve to have. I think you have an important message, and Jamila, continue to do your good work.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me on Viewpoint. My name is Wendell Moore. I'll be back again tomorrow, God's willing, at 12 when it's time for lunch. It's time to share it with yours truly and get the information that is necessary for you. All right, then, that's it. You take care. Goodbye.